Okay, welcome back again. I'm sharing my screen. So we discussed till this PPE. Then one more point. So this is about the transport vehicle. So this basically happens whenever any trucks comes in. Yesterday, some of them are also asked what are the various checks we have to perform before allowing any vehicle, a transport vehicle, into our premises. And this qualified and also licensed driver, they have to check them their license copies and also no intoxication. So whenever they have consumed any alcohol, any other narcotics, name and quantity of the material as per the order or bill, note the vehicle number. We have to see the bill versus the material, then quality of the material arrived, that is nothing but sample. Once we entered, we'll take the uh, sample to check the quality of the material. Then a trump card. So this is also one thing where we can verify whether the sender or supplier has given the trump card or not. In the trump card, you will have chemical details, fire details, and also okay, sorry, मेरा वाईफाई आ गया. Just a second, I'll get the host access again.
Glass not visible and not audible.
నరేష్ గారు నాది ఇంట్లో పవర్ పోయి వైఫై పోయింది. నేను మళ్ళీ మొబైల్లో నెట్వర్క్ కనెక్ట్ అవుతున్నాను, అందుకనే మీకు ఇంటరప్షన్ వచ్చింది. Okay, thanks. So again, I'm sharing my screen back. Okay. So the third one, the quality and also trump card. In the trump card, we'll have basically the fire emergencies in case of spillage, in case of any leakage, what they have to take. The entire condition, spare wheels and jack, then main valve and also other fittings in safe condition, blind disc or gaskets, whether they are properly in fitting, piping and the coupling tools in case of any leakages or how they can control. Tanker pressure test certificate. It is nothing but the calibration certificate from the competent person, and latest material filled
Screen is
in
not
the.
visible actually.
It is not visible.
No, sir. It is processing. And now it's visible. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks. Maybe because of lag. One second. Okay. Then fire extinguisher, so exhaust mufflers, which is nothing but spark arresters, availability of fire extinguisher on the vehicle, PPEs, first aid box and antidotes, and taking away BD cigarette or matchboxes if they are having, which is not supposed to be allowed, product license, and static charge or leakage, if any. So here we'll have the crocodile clips we use to discharge the static which is generated, then compatibility of the material to be transferred. So again, here we sometimes we may accidentally unload in a different tanks. So this also need to be carefully arranged in
Just
a
increase your voice,
storage.
sir.
Okay. So compatibility of the materials also to be transferred. It is nothing but where exactly or which tank has to be supposed to be transferred this particular chemical. Sometimes what will happen, due to the different hoses we use for the loading unloading of these tankers, accidentally will connect the a different tank uh, pipelines to unload the chemical. This also need to be considered. Either we can have use the color code of the tank or color code of the pipeline, or we can use the tags near the valve where we are uh, using for unloading of the chemical. Okay, these are the various points we can check at the gate while you are taking inside the chemical tanker or the vehicle. Okay, With this, we done with this presentation. If you have any questions, you can ask. Meanwhile, I'll take the other presentation onto the screen. Again, I'm sharing my screen. Once it is visible, please confirm so that I can start.
Sir, before term card denotes what, sir?
Sorry?
Term card is there, sir, before?
Term card, okay.
That denotes what?
So basically, term card is nothing but it is an emergency card. In case of any emergencies happened during the course of transportation of chemical, in the term card we clearly written in case of a fire, in case of any leakage. So what are the actions to be taken? It is just basically a precautionary card or an action card to act in the case of emergency. ఏదైనా ప్రమాదం జరిగినప్పుడు దానికి అనుగుణంగా మనం ఎలా రియాక్ట్ అవ్వాలన్న దానికి ఈ ట్రంప్ కార్డులో రాసి ఉంటుంది. ఓకే. Oh, thank God. Again, power resumed. So we can avoid this lag issues. So is it my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. So yesterday we have seen regarding the safe startup and shutdown procedures are well defined, and also the employees has to be trained on this safe startup and shutdown procedures. So we'll see basically what they are. So when we say startup or shutdown operations are often short and long shutdowns, and shutdown procedure need a special precautions. Sometimes you will take for a shutdown in the sense not active for so many days. ఒకసారి నేను చెప్పిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్గా, so once your the batch process is done, maybe until the next batch all the equipments are in shutdown or not in operational. So when again you are starting those equipments, you should have a special precautions before starting of the equipments. When you say starting sequence should be a well defined. So when you say sequence of the starting, how you can start, or what are the steps to be followed, what is the sequence, what is the step by step process, what is the first one, what is the second step, what is the third step. So you have to follow the starting sequence and written and known to the workers involved in this work. And we have to write a starting sequence. It is known to the workers, they should be familiar with. Okay. Starting in sequence of utilities like water, air, power, purging, charging, slow and gradual heating, monitoring of pressure, temperature, flow and reaction rate, cooling if necessary, starting of exhaust systems, scrubbers or condensers, etc. ఓకే, మన స్టార్టింగ్ సీక్వెన్స్ అనేది మనం రాసుకోవాలి, ఆ ప్రొసీజర్ రాయాలి, స్టెప్ బై స్టెప్ ఎలా స్టార్ట్ చేయాలన్నది, తర్వాత అది వర్కర్స్ కూడా తెలిసి ఉండాలి. స్టార్టింగ్ సీక్వెన్స్ ఆఫ్ యూటిలిటీస్ అంటే హీటింగ్, ద జాకెట్లకి వెళ్ళే హీటింగ్ కానీ పర్జింగ్ కానీ. పర్జింగ్ ఈజ్ నథింగ్ బట్ sometimes we do nitrogen purging to create an inert atmosphere to avoid the fire accident. Okay, then heating of the vessel. At a time you are not supposed to increase the temperature on of a sudden, so gradual heating has to be done. Then monitoring of the pressure, so continuously you have to monitor the pressure. Then charging of the chemicals, charging of the chemicals also you have to do in a slow manner. Then temperature, flow and reaction rate, cooling if necessary, starting of the exhaust system, scrubber or condensers. All these systems equipments are properly functioning or not, we have to check. Then observing noise, vibration, speed, alignment, synchronizing, etc. are important. Whatever the moving parts or the equipment, whether it is giving any noise, or whether it is rotating in proper speed, or whether it is low speed or high speed, and also the alignment of various parts which are properly aligned or not, we have to check. Then during the startup, if a drain remains open, vent valves remains closed, and wrong valves are operated, unwanted materials enters, example oxygen instead of nitrogen, as blanketing over a flammable reaction. Okay, water where it is incompatible, air instead of steam. So sometimes what will happen, you may chance to open the wrong valves. Okay, drain valves remains open until you before start or during the start. Okay, then wrong valves, instead of one material you will come up with a different material which can enter inside. The classic example will be whatever the water which is entering inside a chemical reaction which is incompatible with the material which is already inside a reactor, then there it is going to be result in a catastrophic reactions, or it will result as a major accident. For example, sodium, you are mixing water with sodium, then immediately it will explode. Air instead of steam, or steam instead of air, excess or less charging of materials or catalyst, అంటే కావాల్సిన దానికంటే తక్కువ చార్జ్ చేయటము, లేదు అంటే కావాల్సిన దానికంటే ఎక్కువ చార్జ్ చేయటము, or increase the reaction rate. It is not involved in the reaction, but it will increase the reaction rate of the chemical. Then delayed cooling or heating. So your utilities are not functioning on time. So the cooling taking time, or sometimes the heating is taking time. Even that also need to be checked. Not starting of any pump or instrument. The pump or instrument which are not activating, or which is not working properly. Okay, then no indication or alarm due to it is essential, and failure of interlock or trip resulting in unwanted mixing or reactions. So indicator alarm to failure or malfunctioning of the instrument is in the beginning, no starting of local exhaust or scrubber when it is essential, and the failure of interlock or trip resulting in unwanted mixing or reaction. Indication alarm failure, for example, high temperature, or stirrer off condition, or malfunction of the instruments which is not giving any alarm. That is though we need to cross check. Yeah.
सर ये शटडाउन प्रोसीजर जो है ये सीक्वेंस वाइज है क्या, कैसे कैसे शटडाउन करते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल सर ये शटडाउन जो बता रहे हैं ना टॉपिक, ये सर साइट पे यूज होता है अपना बॉयलर हो गया ओएनजी वाले प्लांट्स में, उसके रिलेटेड है क्या ये
प्लांट में भी यूज होता है? it is about the equipments, whatever the equipment you can apply, because ये जो पूरा पॉइंट्स है ना, ये सारी पॉइंट्स सारी इक्विपमेंट को अप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द पॉइंट्स आर कॉमन पॉइंट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल ए ट्रिपिंग डिवाइस है, जो ओवरलोड हो गया, मतलब नो लोड हो गया, in those times the equipment has to be trip, or any valves which are not operating well, wrong valve operate कर रहा है, वो भी चेक करना होगा. Even you can apply for the boiler, you can apply for the reactor, even you can apply for the centrifuge, even you can apply for any Even CNC machinery also. The CNC machine is not using for longer durations. Engineering equipments also we can use. Basically, hence it is in a chemical. We are talking about the chemical industry related equipments and their utilities. Otherwise, you can do your own safe startup and shutdown procedure for your engineering equipments also. Now we are specially discussing for chemical industry most of the points which are relevant to the equipments which we use in chemical industry.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Even for the bike का भी हम लोग कर सकते हैं. For example, I'll take a simple example of bike. Safe starting of your bike or car. So you have kept your car inside a shed for longer durations. So how you check? Directly you can ignite. Before the ignition of your engine, you have to check for, is your vehicle, is it in a neutral position or it is in gear. And also we check for either we have handbrake is applied or not. These are the basic two checkpoints we do before ignition of engine. And also third one, we look for, is there something inside or underneath the car. Sometimes the animals or the kids even, they used to do, they come along with us, they used to roam here and there. They can be either in the front side or in the back side of the vehicle. We check for any obstructions in the moving path of the vehicle. Once it is ignited, slowly we can come, or we can give it for some time for heating of the engine. Once after heating of the engine, then we found it is fine, then slowly we can take out the vehicle from the shed. So for any vehicle you can check all the cross points. It is nothing but either the equipment is as per the intended design, we are applying or we are using certain instructions to meet the operational requirement of the machine. అంటే మనము ఆ మిషన్ పని చేయడానికి ఆర్ దాని యొక్క సీక్వెన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆపరేషన్ అనేది ప్రాపర్గా చేస్తున్నామా లేదని చూడాలి. డైరెక్ట్గా నువ్వు గేరు హ్యాండ్ బ్రేక్ ఏం చూడకుండా డైరెక్ట్గా స్టార్ట్ చేస్తే ఏమవుతుంది? ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గేర్లో ఉంది, హ్యాండ్ బ్రేక్ వేయలేదు. Once suddenly if you give an ignition, it will give a jump. So such kind of things will happen. It is basically how smoothly you are starting your equipment from a long break. Even we check for the brakes also initially. Even that is also one thing I forgot. So you can apply this safe startup procedure or sequence anywhere in the world or for any equipment. Okay. Then the interlocking system for the scrubbers, due to the mixture of mix of reactions which is happening, mixing of air with hydrocarbons containing hot oil and water, thermal or mechanical shocks, or some of the examples of. Yeah.
So scrubber as in the scrubber present in the byproduct plant.
Sorry?
In the byproduct plant, the scrubber unit, this scrubber refers to that only.
Byproduct line, I didn't understand your example.
So in steel industry, there is a byproduct plant, BPP.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a unit called scrubber. It also has a scrubber pump house. Mainly the scrubber is a three structures, X2S, NH3. So this scrubber indicates to what?
So basically all the scrubbers, the main functionality of the scrubber is whatever the fumes or the vapors which are generating from your process, so which are harmful if you are not treated them properly, if you are directly going or giving to the exhaust. So that is why in between we'll have scrubbers. They neutralize the concentration of the chemicals, then it will be released to the atmosphere. That is the function of the scrubber.
Sir.
Yeah,
then it's basically the same, because in byproduct
it is same function. No, it is simple. Wherever you say scrubber, the basic functionality of scrubber is to neutralize the concentration of the chemical. That's all. There you use different types of neutralizers. Whatever it is, the functionality is very simple to avoid the contamination of the atmosphere before releasing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah,
Sir,
thanks.
excuse me. I want to add one more point here.
Yes, sir.
Actually, scrubber, that word is a generic term. What I
Yeah,
mean to say is that it could be like depending upon the specific to industry. For example, in our industry, oil and gas industry, when you talk about scrubber, it means that it is a piece of equipment utilized for removal of unwanted components or contents. Like, for example, in gas industry, moisture and condensate is unwanted, and some dust
agreed.
particles is unwanted. So all these will be removed from the flowing gas fluid. So that piece of equipment is used for that purpose, and it is called as a scrubber, or we can loosely correlate it as a filter also. Why? Because filter elements will be there, and the person who was talking to before to me, that is related to the steel industry, and you are talking about some other chemical industry. So the point is, it could be one piece of equipment like used for removal of unwanted material or chemicals in the raw material or any like flowing streams like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
understood. I mean, I've explained in a different perspective, and you explain different perspective. Basically, what will happen? So when you are removing means it is unwanted. If it is releasing means it is unwanted. Even if you say in chemical sector also, I definitely 100% agree with your addition to this point. So when it is releasing from the process means it is unwanted or which is not required in my process or in my vessel. That is
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm
Yes.
also trying to convey. Even in the with respect to the chemical industry, the scrubber basically they use for the neutralizing purpose only, which is unwanted for them. In your case, you are taking out all the dust particles. There also you are using it as a scrubber. In the steel industry also, they may also use for the neutralizing of the metal fumes which is generating from their operations. Ultimately, the goal is for the scrubber is to avoid the contamination or releasing of the harmful substances which are generating from your process to the atmosphere. So before that, there is a checkpoint. The cleaning or filtration or dilution or neutralization, whatever the word we can fit in, depends on our manufacturing process.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Why you change it to immediate safety? I mean, after a long time we are talking, you changed your name. I think Kumar, right? You are
Yes,
Kumar.
yes, sir. Actually, this Zoom link, myself and my kids are also using for various purposes. So I
Okay.
just kept my surname only. So it could be
Okay.
common for all my kids and myself also.
Okay. Great. Great.
For that
I
reason.
I I, I could recognize by your the DP, the Ganesh,
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
with your voice also. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Come back to the presentation again. Yeah. So I mean, these are these some of the unwanted things or situations you will arise. As I mentioned, to summarize this last sentence. So mixing of two different chemicals or entering unwanted chemicals into the reaction vessel or entering of unwanted utility. For example, I need hot water, or instead of that hot oil is coming. So comparing with hot water and hot oil is more hotter. It will give the temperature increase to my reaction mass, and also the functioning of various tripping devices which is not functioning, or it is not giving any alarm, or the temperature rises also, it is not giving any alarm, or my stirrer which is impeller is off, but my indicators are not giving any hint saying that the impeller is off. So all these are the chances or the failures which can occur. We have to be cautious before the starting of an equipment, or we should be cautious while operating equipments from longer shutdowns. Then attention should be paid on preparatory activities, verifying the content, removal of air or venting, purging and disposal of purged material, removal or addition of water, slow and also sequential starting of heating or cooling, gradual reaching of working parameters, and normal operations. So we should be cautious while performing certain activities. So like verifying the content. So content in the sense the chemical which is entering or the material which is entering, then removal of air or venting, purging and disposal of purged materials. Sometimes we'll keep the vessel at the filling with water continuously or to remove that water, or any purging materials to avoid the accidents or unwanted reactions, and removal and addition of water if it is necessary, and so sequential starting. So whatever the heating or cooling or addition of or flow of the materials, it has to be started in a slow sequence till it is reaching to the operator parameters. That is what I mentioned with the car example also. So initially we have to go in a slow manner. Once we understood that okay, everything is fine, the brakes and clutch and also the engine is performing well, there is no abnormal noise or vibrations in the vehicle, then you can slowly take up to the normal operations. So normal operation, maybe you will go in 80 kilometer per hour or 100 kilometer per hour. Slowly we can take it to the such a working performance levels. And other points needed attention in the startup are removal of shutdown blinds. Sometimes if you put in a shutdown, most of the pipelines will be in blind. We'll apply a blinds or in off position. So blind in the sense you will put a piece of metal in between your pipeline to avoid the entering of materials inside to that vessel. And also providing running blinds. Some of the running blinds will be there, and opening of scrubber or discharge involved, and opening of the isolation valves before safety relief valve, starting of the local exhaust ventilation, pump cooling, and also primary readiness of firefighting equipment, leak detection, opening vents, drains before allowing steam in the system, and also partial opening of the valves. So these are the some more other points which we need our attention before starting off in a equipment. Even here we are talking about the firefighting equipment also. Sometimes because if the operations or the equipment is not in working condition, so we may not give much attention to the firefighting equipments which we installed in and around. So we have to check for all this firefighting equipments also which are in proper working condition. And introducing steam from the bottom part, so the observance of level and also overflow, if any, safe increase in loading, avoidance of incompatible materials, that also we have to check, and avoidance
सर
of moisture. Yep.
सर कैन यू लिटिल बीच बीच में सर थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी में समराइज कर सकते हैं क्या?
हाँ, कर सकते हैं ना.
हाँ तो सर थोड़ा थोड़ा वो करने से क्या है ना
ठीक है
थोड़ा
ना.
बढ़िया
हाँ
समझ में
हाँ
आ जाएगा.
हाँ
कंटिन्यू
हाँ
इंग्लिश
हाँ
में सर थोड़ा
ठीक है,
ओके
कोई बात नहीं. ओके. तो मैं क्या बोल रहा है कि जो हम लोग पहले देखा था ना, सो ऑपरेशंस, उसका जो ऑपरेशंस है वो उसके अलावा हम ये पॉइंट्स भी चेक करना होगा. मतलब जो पर्जिंग का मटेरियल है, फायर फाइटिंग इक्विपमेंट काम कर रही है कि नहीं, और सेफ्टी वाल्व उसको एक्टिवेट करना होगा. सो जो ब्लाइंड्स डाला हुआ है, मतलब केमिकल्स फ्लो नहीं होना करके जो डमी डाला हुआ है वो उसको निकालना होगा, ये पूरा चेक करना होगा. एंड ऑल्सो वेयर वी हैव एविडेंस ऑफ मॉइस्चर एंड इम्प्योरिटीज इन ब्रीथिंग एयर, so this is also important. And purging of blow down tanks and also flare, removing air from the vacuum equipments, inspecting joints and valves for the leakages. So blow down tanks and the flare, those connections are in alive, or is there any blinds or dummies which are arranged. जो भी emergency situation में हम लोग जो डंप करने के लिए यूज करता है, दिस ब्लो डाउन टैंक्स और डंप टैंक्स और डंपर्स, whether they are inactive or not, and the flare. So flare is not going to be applicable for most of the operations, especially oil and gas sector they use, some of the chemical sectors also, but it is not a common practice, especially in the pharmaceutical industries. Removing air from the vacuum equipments and inspecting joints and valves for the leakage. The pipelines or other joints ये भी check करना पड़ेगा in case of any leakage. Or verifying steam traps working for condensate discharge, and also safe displacement of steam, water or purge gas after their usage. Removing residual water before introducing hot oil. Initially cold oil should be introduced, and using heat exchanger. This is also very important, this point. Removing residual water before introducing hot oil. Initially cold oil should be introduced. This is because this is for into your jacket system. So initially you have a hot water. So immediately if you are sending in a hot oil, there will be a chance of an explosion because of the reaction between hot oil and the water. There is a chance of release of hydrogen at a high temperatures. So to avoid such things, we have to drain the complete water. Then the cold oil can be passed so that it can take out the water in the jacket. Then you can start with the hot oil. And using exchanger for the indirect and also gradual heating or cooling systems. Then shutdown procedures. So shutdown will be opposite to the starting. So the shutdown operation needs a sequential steps like cooling and depressurizing, pumping out, removal of residual content, etc. Okay, this is basically an opposite action where we perform for the starting. Initially cooling. So whenever you are looking for a shutdown, if the vessel or equipment is under hot condition, we have to allow the equipment to come down cool. जो भी इक्विपमेंट हम लोग शट डाउन करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहे हैं, इफ इट इज एट द हॉट टेम्परेचर्स, उसको कूलिंग होने के लिए हम टाइम देना पड़ेगा. और बाद में डीप्रेशराइजेशन, ये भी इफ इट इज अंडर प्रेशर, सो वी हैव टू अलो देम टू डीप्रेशराइज, मतलब उसको प्रेशर को कम करना होगा. वी हैव टू रिड्यूस द प्रेशर एंड पंपिंग आउट इन केस ऑफ एनी रेसिडुअल्स और मटेरियल्स which is inside. So we have to allow them to, or we have to pump it out, and removal of residual content, like example hydrocarbons, corrosives or toxic chemicals, water, oil, catalyst, or disposal of effluent and sludge, drainage, and also blinding and isolation activities. Okay, once we pump out all these materials, the disposal of effluent and sludge, so it will go for a treatment, or sometimes if it is you're not having any equipments or processes in place for the treatment, it will go for a disposal. The drainage and blinding and isolation activities. So blinding and isolation, once you've done all these things, you have done cooling, you have done depressurization, you have done pumping out of your materials and removal of all the residuals. Once it is pumping out, whatever the material which is remains inside the vessel, that has to be cleaned. After that, you do a blinding of all the inlets and outlets, or you do a isolation of electrical equipments or other process connections which are connected to the specific equipment or vessel. Okay.
Sir, sorry, sir, for interrupt. Sir, can
Yeah.
you explain a little summarized about shutdown in our ONG plant? सर इसमें क्या क्या बेसिक सेफ्टी सर फॉलो करते हैं शटडाउन प्रोजेक्ट में, या शटडाउन में क्या क्या होता है, ये थोड़ा आप बता सकते हैं अगर और लोगों को दिक्कत ना हो तो.
नहीं, I think we'll